0345 6060 973.
10 minutes before 8 is the time. More of your calls. Taxing times ahead, as I've said already. Gareth, you'll talk about that autumn statement just days away. But let's reflect on other stories. Joined by Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, and we will discuss the G20 summit. But first, if I might, Foreign Secretary, I understand that the deal now with France has been signed involving your senior colleague Suella Braverman. This is concerning, obviously, the migrant crossings. Appreciating it as also a lot undertaken by Suella Braverman. What can you tell us? What will this now allow for, or what will it bring about, hopefully? Good morning to you.
Nick, good morning. So the situation that we're seeing with illegal channel crossings is unprecedented. We've seen more people attempting to make this crossing this year than have ever attempted before. So it's incredibly important we work closely with the French. I was over in Paris speaking with the French foreign minister, my opposite number, on Friday, as well as speaking with the French interior minister today, and they've signed this agreement to update and evolve the joint working that we already have, to make sure that we are responding and evolving our processes in response to the changes of tactics by the people smugglers. And working with the French, we have already seen 29,000 illegal crossings prevented. We've seen over 500 arrests and over 50 criminal gangs broken. So this arrangement is having a positive effect, but we need to make sure it is improving how we work with our French counterparts in response, as I say, to these changing tactics for the people smugglers.
Right, but in practical terms, what is new about this new pact?
Well, we'll have British Border Force officials working in the command centres with their French counterparts. We will have more French officers on the beaches, and there are other more technical details about making sure that we have very, very fast flows of information sharing as well.
While your point about interceptions is correct, Foreign Secretary, you might be aware the level has dropped. It was 50% last year. It's 42% this year. As you rightly say, the French have stopped thousands of people coming to this country, but it's looking at nearly 41,000 who've done it. Obviously, all parties, UK and France, we need to do better here.
Well, so it's an interesting phenomenon, because whilst the proportion of crossings has fallen, the actual number has increased significantly. So this year, working with us, the French authorities prevented twice as many illicit crossings as they did the previous year. But because the number of people attempting to make the crossings have increased so significantly, the proportion has dropped. But as I say, we've been working closely with our French counterparts. We're going to be working even more closely still. And it is part of a plan, including the UK end, so the Immigration and Borders Bill, which went through the House recently, which was opposed by other political parties, including the Labour Party, is about making sure that our bit of the process here in the UK is quicker and more effective, because that has got to be part of an overall international package.
Let's look at the Prime Minister then going to the G20 summit in Bali. I think it's the first time the world leaders will have met in face-to-face for some 3 years. One newspaper, The Times today, has the headline in its leader column, Bali, jaw. Foreign Secretary, how will we know this is something more than a talking shop?
Well, what is incredibly important, and we've seen that the lack of face-to-face international contact has a detrimental effect on international affairs. And sometimes it can be quite difficult to understand the significance of being able to look someone in the eye, particularly when you're having some of the more difficult and challenging conversations, and make the point face to face. And this year, the Prime Minister has made it absolutely clear that he will be championing economic stability on the international stage, and particularly those developing countries who need international financial assistance to lift their economy, which is in our interest because, stable, affluent countries do not export migrants to the UK. So these are really, really important issues. And the Prime Minister will be working closely with his international counterparts on the global economic situation, on migration issues, on food supply issues. And we will also encourage the international condemnation of Russia's actions in Ukraine.
That's been fairly widespread, hasn't it, Foreign Secretary? That international condemnation. Which parties are you looking for to join in the chorus?
Well, we still see countries that are not as vocal as we would like them.
I mean, are we talking China here? Is that who we're talking about?
Well, we know that China has a huge influence on the world stage, and President Xi had a bilateral meeting with President Putin just before the invasion. We know President Putin will listen to what the Chinese say, and we want to make sure that all voices around the world, including those that either voted against or abstained at the United Nations, join the international pressure on Russia to end this war and withdraw its troops.
So if we don't hear a level of condemnation from China, will the Prime Minister have failed?
No, what we are looking to do is we are always seeking to move forward. Now, I know journalistically it's very convenient for you to set a kind of parameter saying if this, then that, but international relations are not quite as binary as that. The Prime Minister goes to Bali with a number of priorities, as I say, including a desire to work internationally to stabilise the global economy, on making sure that the poorer countries in the world have food supplies and energy supplies are not used as leverage on the international stage, including the condemnation of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So there are a number of things that he will be working on, and we will try to get positive movement across a range of topics.
Okay, just last couple of questions, one of which is looking forward to the financial statement later this week. Of course, I remind you were a keen supporter of the former Prime Minister Liz Truss. You were part of the Merry team saying that we needed to grow the cake or grow the pie. I'm not quite sure how you grow a pie. But now here you are in a senior position within this government saying that we need to pay more tax. Why the volte-face so quickly?
Well, I think the response of the international financial markets to the statement that Kwasi Kwarteng made indicated that we needed to do something different. Liz conceded that point when she gave interviews after that statement. And look, I don't mind saying that the actions that Rishi has taken, working with the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, have obviously created some reassurance in the markets. We've seen some stability coming back to the markets, and I'm very very pleased to say that. I'm certainly not going to be a dog in the manger about it. We want to see things improve. The actions that the Prime Minister has taken has improved things, and I know that Jeremy will be very very focused on making sure that we protect the people in society who need our protection, whilst also making sure that the national finances balance.
Last couple of stories. You might have seen in yesterday's Sunday Telegraph that civil servants' projections show that HS2 now will actually not deliver the economic benefit that was hoped for. For every £1 of our money, yours, mine, my listeners, your voters, we'll just get 90p in economic benefit. Is now the time to review the future of HS2, Foreign Secretary?
Well, so I haven't seen the specifics of that report, I must confess. But one of the things that we do absolutely need to do is demonstrate to the whole of the UK that this is a government for the whole of the UK. Look, I'm a Londoner by birth. I now represent a constituency in the east of England, but the southeast corner of the UK. And I've seen London and the southeast get disproportionate attention through my political life, and it's absolutely right. The government makes sure that every single part of the UK feels that they are part of the family and feels that they get the attention of the UK. And transport infrastructure and other digital infrastructure and economic infrastructure is a really, really important point of that, because there is so much talent around the UK and we need to harness all of it.
I'll take that as a support still for HS2. Lastly, have you in your busy schedule found any time to vote for your former colleague Matt Hancock to take part, there comes the chuckle, to take part in any of the trials, such as having gunk poured over his head or being chased by a crocodile?
So I can give you an unequivocal answer on this one. I have not voted either for or against my former ministerial colleague. Susie and the boys are addicted viewers, but I've managed to miss most of it.
Any of your colleagues voted for Mr. Hancock? Do you know?
Now that I don't know. If I were a betting man, I suspect that one or two might have been, tapping their phones.
Best wishes to your family. Thank you, James Cleverly, Foreign Secretary, appearing here on LBC. We're at 8 o'clock. Let's get the latest news.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 8 o'clock, the UK has signed a new deal with France this morning to try to stop